go soft now. Twitch already made us soft.
Shut up. I switched us over, so you already fucked us up.
Hey, boys and girls. It's time for everybody's favorite podcast, Radio Loud. I'm Sean, the One Lung Wonder Sullivan. That's my last name. That's what I end it with.
I'm Stefan Weber.
Stefan Stanky.
And I'm Dirty Dougie Dilf.
Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy. Never fails to get a laugh out of Doug calling him Daddy.
Oh, that's fucking grody, dude. I kind of hate it. I always thought that was kind of vile.
Oh yeah, I'm not one of those people. I don't actually know. I've only met one person in my entire life who was like that, at least openly, who didn't think Daddy was like a naughty bedroom word.
I actually I've met like 2 girls since I got into that age range that probably had daddy issues when they were a child.
Show me somebody who doesn't have daddy issues, Doug.
I love my dad.
I mean, I do too, but that doesn't mean that there weren't some either some issue-filled years or
well, what are those? The teens?
Tankst, as we call it. Teenage angst.
Teen angst. Smells like teen spirit.
Smells like teen angst.
So next time you guys see me, I will actually be out of the chrysalis.
It's gonna hatch into a butterfly and it's gonna fly away.
And then he'll break something else.
I've actually been avoiding just like doing my haircut routine, just because I didn't want to get like hair in it and shit.
Too taxing for the lad.
So this fucking morning, essentially, I decided, okay, I'm gonna cut my hair. I cut my own hair, ladies and gentlemen. It
doesn't look great. That's why I wear so many hats.
That's actually why I hate hat hair.
Fair enough. I mean, like you just budget. Come on, show it to the boys and girls of America. Show it.
Dude, it's like no, I'm not bald. It's just like it's Velcro-y. So it takes like if I put my hat on just a little bit wrong, it stays in the wrong position. I could like literally hang this thing off my head.
Yeah, it's the beanie effect of short hair. Like I totally understand it. I've lived that life. Doug. Right. It's fun. I cut my hair and I shave and stuff. I'm letting the shower like kind of like preheat and stuff. And
he uses a 2.
What was that?
He uses the 2 grade all the way around, right?
Yeah, the fucking 2 attachment, just 2 everywhere.
No, it's 1.5 millimeter. It's a different thing. It's like this weird
1.5.
It's got a number next to it that'll give you like the straight rating.
It's actually just for buzzing, essentially. So
it's just like one of those basic guards where it's basically a 1.
No, it like the thing curves, like it's a special buzzer. It curves to the side of your head. I can show it to you later.
Do it. I demand.
But
explanations for how your head gets like this.
Basically, I was getting ready to get in the shower and a wad of hair had stuck to my back, and just before, I don't know,
it was on your back. Fair enough.
But I felt it fall off my shoulder and like down right into my butt crack. So I got like a butt crack full of just like hair shavings.
So what'd you do? Rinse yourself off again?
You just put the nozzle right in there, right?
The nozzle came off.
He said screw it and just put pants.
Oh, you don't have... I have one of those things where it pulls up. And
I don't have one of those.
I think he just said screw it and put his pants on.
No, I definitely...
It'll come out with the next trash delivery. Next garbage cycle.
I definitely had to be very thorough because I could feel like these little prickly things in my fucking ass.
Doug's got scritchy butt. So if you see him dragging his ass on the carpet later, you'll know why.
He's taking after the cats.
I've actually never seen my fucking cat do that.
No? They don't just rub their taint all around the house?
Nope.
Just occasionally vomit and walk away.
My dog's got a new thing where she's eating
occasionally. Jesus Christ.
My dog's got a new thing where she's eating all the shoelaces if shoes are left out.
Mine actually prefers rubber bands. Like if I would leave a rubber band or a piece of Scotch tape. Remember when Bane ate the mustache off of John Travolta.
Is that
I thought it just fell off.
I thought it just fell off too.
No, Bane, like, literally, he would get up on top of the couch, and then he would get up on the poster. For the listeners, we had a Pulp Fiction of Jules and... what are the characters' names? It was just Travolta and Samuel Jackson.
And Samuel L. Jackson back to back with the pistols.
Yeah, with the fucking iconic shot. Yeah, it's good.
And I slapped a fuzzy mustache on Travolta because he was looking a little weak on the
From
upper
Spencer's.
lip.
It became 3D art.
It looked really good. Like, the mustache looked really good on Travolta.
The placement was right.
It was tacky in a fun way.
So, basically, my cat Bane, we'd catch him just up on his, like, hind paws, eating the mustache. He, like, ate half of it, and then a couple days later, it was just all gone.
You woke up one morning to a horrible
There was
meowing.
just like a glue outline.
Yeah,
where the
like,
mustache was. It was all discolored.
It's still there, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys still have that poster up?
I'm pretty sure it's not up anymore.
Oh, that's right. I don't think it's up anymore, but you guys had it up with the shitty mustache mark
Forever.
Forever.
Just, like, collects all of your filth. Your filth is the new mustache.
It's our filth.
It's a good poster. Yeah, but we don't put our posters in frames, so they just slowly deteriorate. I should really frame the ones I like a lot. Like not even like an expensive
posters.
Not an expensive one, like a shitty like $5, $2 one you get at Walmart where it's just plastic edging.
I don't know, like especially for that shit that you can just never find again. Like old game posters and shit that are just probably never going to be reprinted.
You got puzzles. You put your puzzles in frames, right?
When Britt does the Legend of Zelda puzzle, she frames them, which is pretty cool.
I have 2 really dope Ghostbusters ones.
I thought you gave those to your dad.
I was going to give one to him after I put it together, like the movie poster one.
Didn't get around to it?
They're both movie posters, obviously. But
Didn't get around to it, or what?
No, I just haven't even opened them. I have the one that is from the dude who did a bunch of Black Dahlia Murder artwork.
Yeah, I actually have Dan Mumford. Dan Mumford is the artist that you're thinking of.
That thing is sick. It's like them confronting Zool.
Yeah. I have actually a Dan Mumford Black Dahlia, the Dracula getting the spike through him. I have that one as a poster. It's just rolled up real nicely so I can get it in a frame.
I actually saw a really good take on that Change My Mind meme. It was Sigourney Weaver. There is no Dana, only Zool. Change my mind.
Tell you what, dude, I bet I can bring this up now that we can actually do... You have this one.
Yeah, that's the one. That's definitely the one. I wish I could put it up on just to do a PNP in this thing.
Yeah, but that's the poster. Yeah, I remember when you bought that.
Yeah, from the game store up the street.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to go there. Spend a bunch of money.
Comes back with Ghostbuster puzzles. I don't want to come back and buy all this stupid shit. Thank God I got these puzzles.
Dude, those fucking Star Wars miniatures for the what's the Star Wars minis game called with like the ships?
Failed.
X-Wing or Armada. There's two
Armada.
of them.
Yeah, those things are just so goddamn expensive. Holy fuck.
Needlessly
Yeah, I have this
I know.
poster. This is the poster I have.
Oh, that thing's tight.
Yeah. Got it actually with the t-shirt that had that on that. Pretty dope. All right. I actually want to hit you guys with a story here. Chuck Schuldner's BC Rich Stealth up on auction.
Fucking what?
Chuck Schuldner's BC Rich Stealth, his guitar was up on auction. When it was originally up, the bid was at $6,666.
Who is this?
I have no idea.
Chuck Schuldner from Death.
Yeah, you're assuming I know who.
I thought you listened to Death.
I like Death, but I don't know everybody. I don't know anybody by name.
He's
Death.
the main dude. He's the main brains.
Ah.
And it's just totally trashed.
Yeah, the thing of it is it's probably trashed. It's probably old and shitty.
No, it's totally trashed.
It's seen its day.
It's totally
it's
trashed.
still worth $6,000 apparently.
I mean,
Well,
it's a
it's just
piece
that-
of history for metalheads.
Oh, $8,000.
Yeah, it's at $8,000 now. But just some of the pictures here. He restringed it, and there's no pickup in there. It's all corroded.
That's actually part of an agreement for a lot of endorsements. Like if you get an endorsement deal and you're in a band, they actually tell you have to keep the instrument for like a certain period of time, because a lot of people will just flip it.
Yeah.
And like hopefully they get some dummy who's just like starstruck, who's just like, oh my god, you're that dude from that band.
Oh my god, I love that band for their guitar. Yeah.
But they want it to be in front of the audience. Essentially, they want
they don't want
people
you
to see you playing.
Yeah, they don't want you to sell it to some schmuck and just take their free shit and just be like conning it off.
It's like if you, well, I guess they do just wear their shoes once, probably in the NBA, and then throw them into the crowd. So.
Oh, thanks. These smell like your gross ass feet, bro.
and you wear a size 15. I'll never grow into these.
All right, thanks for making me feel masculine as fuck.
Big ass dude.
I just can't imagine, getting good.
A left shoe. Dude, you know they don't end up at the same spot. Like you get a righty and like fucking kid two wings.
I didn't mean as the kid getting it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you just get one shoe. He doesn't even throw the other one. He hobbles out back in the locker room.
What I'm saying is, as like a professional player, like you're throwing your shoes away each game. It's like you got to break them in.
Right? It's so uncomfortable.
Right?
I bet you they got
unless they have specialized where it's only vulcanized soles, so it like takes no breaking in or something.
No, I bet you what they do is they wear like their actual game shoes and then swap them out for like fucking last 5 minutes. Like when there's that little timeout that like they don't show it on camera, but they all swap their shoesies quick.
All right.
And then they just throw out the new ones.
Or they
keep the game shoes.
Or they actually have like pre-broken in shoes and boots. They might break them in technically.
Everyone's got a
they just got a bard that breaks their shoes in for it. It's like, no, they have they're so rich they have like genetically cloned people that are exactly the same thing, and then they just run them on a treadmill.
Yeah,
but exactly. you can buy like broken in Doc Martens because people are like, oh, the boots just they hurt my feet.
Yeah, but that's stiffness. Like I'm talking about like where your sole is essentially molded to your foot.
Yeah, because like that little the ball of the foot and the big toe, those indents need to be at the right spot.
I bet they take a molding of their feet if they're big enough.
Oh,
maybe that's how they do it. They get like a foot molding, and they have specialized insoles or something.
And they like put them on a robot and it just like stomps in these shoes like 1,000 times. So somewhere there's a bunch of fucking buck shoes on like a robot somewhere, like a giant robot centipede that just crawls around in circles really fast. Just
that's not exactly
the prestigious shop floor thing. Like once you like get done making just the peons shoes for the populace, you get to make the basketball shoes for the NBA stars.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, he's moving up in the factory, and you are just the machine that's just like, stop.
That's the move from AAA to the pros.
That wasn't exactly what I had in mind, but
that's where
I think that's where it goes.
Yeah, that's the only logical solution.
Centipede foot robot.
Because why would you just put 2 feet on a robot? Like, they're a robot. They can have any number of feet. And if you give them 100 feet, well, then they're a centipede. Instant logic.
It's the non-human centipede.
Well,
how could you sew an ass to mouth if it doesn't have an ass?
It still cries out for death.
Just forever running in a circle. I run all this time to break them in, and then they just give me new shoes that hurt my feet.
That was actually that German scientist's endgame where in 3 when he sewed all the prisoners together. He was just gonna make it so he could profit off of breaking in basketball shoes.
Oh my god! And since they're on hands and knees, gloves at the same time. He's gonna double up on the cashmere and leather glove
MLBs.
Market. Yeah,
he's selling them to Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes. Hi, Willie Mays here.
I was gonna say who would the gloves be for, but that totally makes sense. Just baseball mitts.
Mm-hmm.
It's for Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes loves basketball and baseball memorabilia, so we just break in hundreds of units of baseball gloves for Wesley Snipes every month.
I saw somebody crying for another Blade movie.
Crying?
Yeah.
What was their post? Something like, it was the first real black superhero movie.
That's what came up when Black Panther came out, but this was more recent with, all the Avengers hype going around.
Get Blade in the Avengers. Is that what he wanted? I know. That's why.
But he could be, right? Is he Marvel?
No, I don't think so. I think he's DC.
Disconnected?
Yep.
I'm not a DC boy. I mean, I like Batman. I never really liked Superman, but
Batman's cool.
Yeah, Batman's cool.
Batman's dark. I mean, it gets really dark and so on.
He's Marvel.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he was
could
Marvel.
be an Avenger. He could be an Avenger. Is Spawn DC? Spawn must be the
I don't know.
DC
I
one.
thought there was another one coming out, wasn't there? Wasn't there another?
They have a.
I thought there was going to be another Spawn movie.
Spawn.
But yeah, the last one was just terrible. Fucking John Leguizamo is that fucking clown essentially.
You didn't like that?
No,
it's hilarious.
I actually, my dad.
Hey man,
I was into John Leguizamo as a kid.
He's a fun guy, and he's just a total dunce in that movie.
Right? He's a short, fat little clown. It's like, how'd they stuff him in that fucking thing? Okay. Are we ready to dig into some news?
Do we want to cut before that, or roll right into news?
No.
Okay,
Let's just
let's hit it.
Keep the
keep it
train
going.
a chugging.
This is a Florida man. So
Florida man.
Yep, Florida man.
Oh, hold on. Let me Google New Jersey woman quick.
I got you, bro.
Okay, the title is Florida man charged with trying to barbecue sex offenders at motel.
What do you mean? Like he whipped out a grill and was just like, "I'm gonna put some mesquite on you," and we're just gonna go at it.
Gonna roast ya.
No,
Or was he like inviting him over?
No, he told police that he went to this motel to barbecue the child molesters on fire and kill them. That's in quotes. Barbecue all the child molesters on fire and kill them. End
So
quote.
they just arrested a crazy person.
Well, pretty much, but you know, it's noble. I find that to be like.
Wait, who's noble in this situation?
The barbecue, the barbecuer.
Go over your thought process on this one more time.
One question: was he wearing shoes at the time of his arrest? That is usually a good indicator
He's crocking it.
of how on the ball they are. If you're arrested without shoes, you did something wrong.
I don't know. It is just a headline. It is just like a man is going to barbecue people and he got arrested for it. And like, why would you tell people that was your intent?
That's what leads me to believe that this is
yeah, I
like
forgot. He
vendetta of some sort. It makes me think that he's kind of
possibly
like maybe causing a disturbance because he might be mentally unwell.
Apparently he was like just like putting gasoline all over the door and the hallways and shit like that.
Yeah, that sounds not good.
Yeah. Dude, I remember me and Corey Bear, after the fire here, we literally had another incident at the hotel at La Quinta.
Oh yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that. Or I mean, probably tell me way back when
we
it happened.
fucking came back, and we came back to the hotel, and there was like a fire truck just parked outside. Lights were on and shit.
You started
like that.
having flashbacks.
Just like we're like, what the fuck is going on? We walked in the place. Fucking place smells like gasoline. Like all the way in the lobby. Apparently this lady was in a room with a fucking like a little girl, and she was huffing gasoline in it. She was just like getting high.
Can't you get
high
a better? That's like the cheapest way to get your rocks off. That I can think. Well, probably not at the time, but what?
Doing it in a motel room too, right?
But it was like all the way down the corridor, and it smelled all
How
the
much
way up.
gas did she buy? She's like a
Probably had
5-gallon
one of those,
drum.
yeah, one of those little jugs.
Enough for the weekend.
I mean, it's not like you really use it when you're huffing it, you know? Like, it just stays
Right, it
there.
just keeps,
like, that's the best
just
high
keeps
ever.
evaporating.
That's replenishable as fuck. Because if you keep it sealed, you don't ever lose any, right? That's how it works.
Is there a point where like enough of the gasoline evaporates and it stops? being in that state, or is it just all
as a very
you suck it, you suck all the high off of it?
Yeah, once you get all the high out of those tasty sniffs, what else is really left for you in the gas?
That's how Croc became Croc. Just did too much crocodile.
Killer Croc. You ready for your New Jersey woman story?
Yeah, did you find one?
Yeah.
Let's do it, baby.
Fucking hit me.
Medieval times in New Jersey. Meet the first queen to rule New Jersey. And it's just a little op-ed about the new medieval times in New Jersey.
Oh, so they're ruled by a queen. a little bit of ancient.
And it looks
England
like just a fucking
ancient
renovated White Castle.
This sounds like a fucking just like a Canadian headline where it's like
real.
there's nothing going on, so they're just reaching. Oh, there's a Canadian. Well, I guess
Our
they're
Renaissance-
gonna make
At
some
the
money.
end of the article is the prices.
So what you're saying is you found an ad.
It's about 70. Well, it's 70 bucks. It's on an actual news.
Yeah,
New Jersey article.
it's a local. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a local flavor piece. I
About
got you.
$70 for adults and $40 for kids almost. That's
pretty expensive.
as shit.
Yeah.
I've never done medieval times.
Yeah, I would like to go.
I've
you
actually
go?
I've been talking for a couple of years now about going to the Ren Fair. Alex swears it. Alex
No,
loves
not
it.
Ren Fair,
I
man.
don't wanna
Medieval
go to-
times.
I'd like to go to the Ren Fair, but I'd like to go to medieval times for sure.
I
Get
didn't know.
caught up there and joust.
Oh, is that the jousting eating place?
That's
Yeah.
the cable guy throws the chicken on his face.
Yeah.
That's medieval times.
A guy did an AMA for being an employee at a medieval times, and he said the amount of people that like try and rush in and reenact the thing from the cable guy is
It's
like,
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just like
Stop! It gives you acne instantly.
I've never seen the cable guy.
Oh, there's this big scene where essentially the plot of the movie is Jim
to fix
Carrey is a
somebody's
cable guy
cable.
who's trying to befriend Matthew Broderick. He just like goes to his house
Okay.
to install his
A
cable.
little stalkery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's like a stalker essentially. So they end up going to medieval times, and Jim Carrey sets it up so they get to be in the act,
oh.
and they
'Cause that's
end
fun.
up like fighting to the death or whatever.
Just wanna
Not
know.
not like actually in the movie, but
But
that's like what it's set up
In
to
the
be.
scene, Jim Carrey strips the skin off of the chicken and like pops little eye holes in the mouth hole, and
Oh,
he
and does that,
sticks
like-
the.
Oh, he's like, hello, Clarice.
Yeah, he sticks it over his
Oh
face.
my god, I've seen that scene somewhere.
Of course, yeah.
That's like
Now you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Clicked with you.
Oh, why would you put chicken greasy
Acne
chicken
instantly.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Insta acne.
Ooh, that's so dumb.
Face peel. Reverse face peel.
Yeah.
Just fill all the pores.
He's got a fucking makeup team, man.
Well, I'm talking if people
I'm
reenacting
talking
it
humans.
in
Yeah,
in
real
medieval
life.
time.
People who are not
Oh.
Jim Carrey, who are just like
No, that's not what they were
Clockwork
doing.
Boys.
Oh, you said somebody actually did that, like reenacting.
I thought that's
it?
what you said. You said the employee at
No,
medieval
no,
times said
no,
people
no,
were
no,
doing it all
no.
the time.
I mean, like people jump onto the stage, the entertainment, and try to reenact the battle. You know, where Jim Carrey's like,
because
That part.
that was funny though.
yeah, they would
I thought
they have to
were
like
doing
detain
the-
people because of that.
I thought they were doing the Clarice. I was like, why would you do that? Instant acne. Just everyone's coming out of medieval times with twice as much acne. Sorry,
It's like, wow,
medieval
nothing but a
times
bunch of
fans.
pimply nerds in there.
They're more pimply now. Sorry, guys.
That's awful.
Yeah, he jumps up there and he does the Star Trek.
Another bad movie.
Yeah.
Dude, like, yeah, another bad move, and I've seen this at a couple places. People who, when you literally paid money to come watch this person do their thing, and you feel the need to jump on their platform and be, look at me. Like, you see it at concerts sometimes. Fucking
That was
idiots
in
jump on
that was in
stage.
that Difficult People show.
Yeah, it's
Where
like,
the guy, there's a gay guy, and he's like, I have to break up with this dude because he's a
participator.
He's a participator.
yeah. But no,
He's
but
a
that's the
bug
thing.
catcher.
And I mean, yes, he was obviously like fucking satirized to be overly participate. But there's a difference between when someone asks for a volunteer.
But I think that's what he was kind of getting at.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to be the plant that gets flayed alive in the magic acts?
I'm looking for a volunteer. Everybody hands goes off to get their dicks cut off.
That actually happened to.
That sounds like an amazing Jonathan skit. I don't know if you guys remember that guy.
No.
Yeah, the amazing Jonathan. He would drink the Windex.
Yeah, he'd just eat razor blades.
He's like a stand-up comic.
He's a faux magician.
Oh yeah.
But fun. He's still doing like real magic. It's like it's cool to watch him do sleight of hand and magic at the same time
with a bit of comedy, and he like smacks the crap out of his assistant. Basically,
a little slapstick. A little slapstick. That's cool.
I think it's a woman.
Yeah.
All right,
but it's pretty crass. It's good stuff. It was on Comedy Central all the time.
This is 2018. Women can get beat up just as well as men can. Oh, come on. That's comedy gold. I'm a feminist. It says it on my shirt.
It says Echo.
Isn't Mark Echo though? Like
you're in the echo chamber.
Isn't?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Isn't Mark Echo though kind of like the Susan B. Anthony of like urban designers?
Totally.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Boo boo.
For me, for us, by us.
He's on Shark Tank, right?
Are you gonna fucking bust out your Billabong fucking shirt next?
No, but I got a sweet Fox Racing hat that I'm gonna switch into for the second half of this
still
podcast.
A thing?
I'm sure. As long as rednecks ride dirt bikes, Fox Racing will make money.
I feel like Monster is the new old Fox Racing. It's already became Fox Racing and gone out.
I mean, but the problem is that Fox Racing is not
gone out.
Yeah, it's like still.
Well, neither is Monster.
Well,
neither is Red Bull. But it's like the bro-y thing.
To be fair,
it's
Red
like
Bull
the
just
fucking
put a man
Calvin
in space.
pissing on the Ford.
Yeah, Red Bull's kind of cool. I
Red
mean,
Bull puts
outside of
people
their
Yeah, Red Bull does a lot of cool
outside
shit.
of their actual drink, like they have a lot of cool stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't fucking drink Red Bull.
I don't really keep up with Monster like that, so.
They actually
Monster doesn't have the million
they don't
PR
put people in space. Felix Baumgartner, he didn't go like to space technically, but
You didn't technically go to space either, so you know.
So fuck off.
Point some fingers, fucker. And you don't have a cool last name like Baumgartner.
Apparently that guy's like kind of weird.
You'd have to be willing to like do that.
What fucking base jump?
Out of space?
I feel like base jumping off a skyscraper would be way scarier than fucking.
No, I'm talking about the hot air balloon guy who jumped out.
That's Felix Baumgartner. Like I feel like with like the way a parachute works in base jumping, I feel like jumping from the edge of space, like through the I feel like doing that.
What if it spun too fast? You landed in China, dog. You didn't even think about the issues this man could have encountered. He had to prepare and learn every language in the world so he'd be able to talk to whoever he landed on. What if he landed in somebody's living room? What if he just came in the window? Well, some little Dutch family's eating breakfast.
I basically feel like jumping off a skyscraper would be way scary because you have to like inflate the parachute in no time at all. That's why base jumping's so dangerous. But like you have all the time in the world.
Yeah, I've heard the big thing is everyone gets their fucking parachute stuck on the side of the building. It doesn't open properly, and it either gets caught and they just like hang there, or they gets caught and they die.
Dude, I saw this gnarly video of a dude base jumping off a cliff. The wind basically caught him. He fucking like essentially got blown back into the cliff. And you got to like watch his GoPro of him just like sliding down this fucking cliff all the way and hitting the ground. I think he lived though.
There was a wink there.
I think
he lived.
Dude, I saw one of this guy basically doing like the parasailing thing, but he's like doing it.
Oh god, that seems so scary.
He jumps off of like
he's basically
like in some little like sleepy little town, and this guy's basically like skirting houses and stuff. Like he's coming in hot, and like the wind's kind of gusting a little bit, and you can see like he kind of loses it a bit and gets a little closer than he wants to get, and suddenly he's kind of like whoop, picking up his butt a little bit, you know, kind of tucking his tail a little bit, making sure he doesn't rip off his fucking legs against tile fucking clay rooftops. Oh my god, it's just like do you really deserve a second chance?
I feel like that's like a Bill Burr situation where like he has that bit about killing people on cruise ships, It just like seems like a hazardous thing. It's like, oh, come zip line, and it breaks at this spot, and so they kill tourists just to thin them out.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. I think it's all intentional. Hey, tourists, come do this sweet new water-based jetpack we have. We promise you won't go.
So cool.
Bungee jump.
We promise you won't go upside down and drown yourself.
We promise you won't come out feet first.
We promise we won't get to let the umbilical cord of the water get wrapped around your neck and kill you like a baby that never got its first breath.
You've seen that that news thing with the guy who had the water jetpack thing. It was like, this is Fox 6, and we're starting right. Yeah. He's like doing the cold intro, and he just like can't get it out. He's just like, boof.
Yeah, dude. Just obviously someone who's like, oh, I got stable on it once. I can now do the like hard takeoff. And it was so not true.
Well, try to go from 10 to 60.
Yeah, it's just like, okay.
Trying to go from 0 to live TV.
Yeah, for real.
That's why we're doing this today. We're taking baby steps.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, can you imagine if the first time I was on the one wheel, I came back down, then, like, fucking 10 minutes later, like, after 2 shots of whiskey, and was like, all right, running start. Let's go. Just ran at it.
All right.
That's basically what he did.
You guys got some more Nas?
No, we'll take a soft cut.
Are you trying to take a break?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at a half hour. We'll take a break.
So that's your podcast, huh?
You've been listening to Radio Loud. You can find us on Podbean at radioloud.podbean.com.
Or you can look us up, Radio Loud, on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher.
Or you can tweet us at Loud Podcast. Only use caps, please.
All caps when you spell my damn name. Rolling. Just keep rolling.
That's going to get cut.
We can't cut anything anymore.
Too close to the original, man.
Right, I'm going to get zapped for copyright.
You can't say words that have been used in other copyrighted programs.
Fucking the worst of the worst. Fred Durst is going to come and get me.
Fred Durst watches every single tweet, every single streaming thing. He's actually plugged in. He just sits alone in a dark room with 500 monitors and just masturbates in his
How's
own
this
PC.
for a show? Fucking Fred Durst, patent troll.
Fred Durst actually, low-key, is the sole owner of over 1,500 patents. And he just saves people all day.
He thought in the 90s he knew VR was going to come to be, and he patented a machine that jerks you off while it's synced to the pornography you're watching. And
yeah, it's actually just a car engine hooked up to a fleshlight, and the piston just fucking jacks you off at like a million miles.
But the thing is,
you and 6 of your friends could use it.
He patented it to sell the hardware at a loss, but to make money on the cartridges for where like your spooge goes. And it's essentially just a biscuit in a little like plastic container you load in and you jizz on it, because that's what Limp Biscuit is. It's like a circle jerk on a biscuit.
That's a soggy biscuit. I feel like
Ookie cookie.
This is too rehearsed to be 100% fiction.
Oh no. I was just shooting from the hip there.
I was buying it.
Yeah, I was definitely like, wait, you got too deep for this to be all all fresh. I was like, did Fred?
No, man. Sometimes the concept just it comes.
Sometimes the purchaser comes too. That's why we have reloadable cartridges.
So, Doug, have you ever seen the movie Polka King with Jack Black?
I'm not getting
no,
any
but
audio,
you told me to.
music.
You told me to.
I told
watch
Sean that on the way here too. You guys should both check it out.
I did watch Infinity War. I did watch Tremors.
How'd you like Tremors 6?
Sucked. It was the worst shit, dude. That movie sucked so bad. But I do have some other Tremors news. There's been a pilot trailer circulating around of a new Tremors show that Sci-Fi shot down. And it has Kevin Bacon in it. Right? And I was like, why wouldn't Sci-Fi pick this up?
It's probably too expensive.
It's probably too shit. It's probably
I
too
don't
shit.
think Sci-Fi knows how to say that to shows.
I know that too. Like,
Wait, don't they have The Expanse now though?
Yeah, The Expanse is like pretty good. It's pretty camp too, but I really like that. I think that's starting back up. I gotta like sign back onto that. That's another show I've actually watched as it's like episodes are coming out.
Yeah.
I keep current with that. But yeah, they like it was supposed to have Kevin Bacon in it. It was supposed to have Fred Ward in it, and that's all you need.
Dude, Kevin Bacon, low key, is like a really good actor.
Oh yeah.
The Following he did pretty recently, that was really good, at least for a
Following?
season. Yeah, it's basically it's about like basically a Stephen King / Edgar Allan Poe it's a Stephen King-esque author who's got an obsession with like Edgar Allan Poe.
Is Kevin Bacon the author?
No, Kevin Bacon is an FBI agent because this author essentially kills somebody or like he like he's like a serial killer or something.
He writes about it?
Yeah, and he ends up like Kevin Bacon catches him like before this show even starts. It's actually like a really, really cool show. It's like really dark and creepy. And like first episode, this dude breaks out of prison because he's been slowly developing like a cult of personality of like because he was like a college professor. He's like curated all these students who've like come through his classes and all these pen pals he's made while in prison as this high profile, like very avant-garde, like artistic serial killer. And basically the whole show is like, it's like his following is called, they break him out of prison, and then just like everybody is a sleeper agent who's, it's one of those things. It's like who's a good guy and who's a bad guy.
Sounds like some John Carpenter shit.
Oh, like some a Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, a little bit like that. It's definitely good for primetime TV.
That was something I thought was interesting about A Scanner Darkly. I had watched that movie and sorry, but like they literally made the movie look like what a movie looks like when you've taken acid and you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
It like the cell shading in that essentially.
Yep.
That's like what it is kind of meant to essentially represent.
Emulate.
Yeah. The whole thing's supposed to be just like an acid trip.
But they have those. But they also have the people who wear those like little scrambler suits that have like infiltrated the little groups of druggies. That I think it's kind of like supposed to represent the paranoia.
Narcs.
Essentially, yeah,
Everywhere.
They essentially represent it as narcs in the film, but it's supposed to represent the paranoia that everybody feels.
I have not watched
Speaking of
Darkly in a very long time.
Dark and paranoia
neither.
stuff, did you finish some more Lovecraft?
I did not get to read more Lovecraft. However, I did get to play more Lovecraft.
Because I was going to say you should check out that King in Yellow book because it actually came out before Lovecraft, so he was influenced by it. You may enjoy it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's one of the things that like I respect where my favorite authors got their inspiration from. But I don't necessarily want to go back and read esoteric writings when I would prefer what the art has evolved into. because like as a big reader and a big fan of like some horror, fantasy kind of like genres and like some sci-fi stuff, that I don't necessarily need to go back and read Asimov to like enjoy sci-fi, but like still understanding and appreciating like what he did for the scene, or what Tolkien or Robert Jordan or any of them did.
I feel like trying to go back and read Gene Roddenberry. What was the Mars book?
I thought it was just called The Martian.
No, that's
a movie now. But you're talking about the one where the guy moves to Mars and then they slowly become the Martians.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought that was just called The Martian.
I think I've read that.
I'm not
we
sure.
Had to read it
no,
in
it wasn't
school.
called The Martian. Yeah. It was not called The Martian, but Roddenberry wrote Fahrenheit 451, and it has some cool concepts in it, but the concepts have essentially been dated. We've gone beyond like the future that he envisioned. But he also did Star Trek, which we haven't gone past. And I feel like that was pushed in some classes in high school, and I was just like, even at the time, I was like, Roddenberry. I've read cooler like sci-fi stories in middle school.
Yeah. Well, again, especially like, it's just always the problem I feel that there is with some really dated material trying to reach children, where you can do a lot better teaching children literary practice than giving them Shakespeare. Like having an understanding of Shakespeare, like a rough understanding of Shakespeare, is I think enough, rather than being forced to read like 12 different plays as a class of him. You know, it's like he's not that relevant. I mean, there are far more relevant, far more accomplished modern day writers that kids could begin with, they'd be able to like understand and approach better. And then if they do,
I think that does get done.
I'm thinking of Ray Bradbury. Got the wrong guy. And it got the wrong.
I was only forced to read one Shakespearean.
I had an AP class where like our teacher was like an older lady who just really liked Shakespeare, so basically had us read. It was like some AP lit class, and we did like a whole semester of basically just Shakespeare. Then it was pretty gay.
Sounds like
Sorry.
Sounds like maybe it's just like a symptom of the teacher, because my teacher was younger.
And that's exactly it, is you get some institutionalized teachers who basically haven't changed their curriculum in probably 2 decades.
But there's also the coolest teacher I ever had, who is literally on his last year. Like, he was like, I'm moving to Costa Rica! And me and him had this little thing going on. We were talking about like the Orient. We were talking about the Oriental, essentially, and he was talking about like the rickshaw drivers, essentially. And me and him always used to joke. It was like, before you retire, Mr. Levin, we're gonna set it up. We're gonna get a rickshaw, and I'm gonna take you for a lap around the track, essentially.
But did it ever happen?
No, it never happened.
Because where does an 18-year-old get a rickshaw? I
picture him just substituting in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, get in this wheelbarrow and I'll try not to flip you.
I'll try not to break your goddamn hips. Dump you.
Bail!
So apparently it got reported back that he didn't move to Costa Rica because he didn't really tell his wife. That was his plan.
Sneaky bastard.
Or maybe that was just his like little joke.
Hey.
But yeah, he had written like a really good book on like World War I history.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, how'd you end up teaching high school? It's like,
So I imagine that's the same response. There's this black metal vocalist who's now a world history teacher in Kentucky. I'm just like, that is so It'd be so bizarre.
Life's funny like that.
Yeah, Pest from Gorgoroth.
It's what my
The Plateau of Evil and Tokens book.
It's what my guitar teacher used to say. Guy, I was just like taking lessons from him. He was like a cool, like 40-year-old dude, and
cool guy.
He was like, I'm not gonna have kids, and then like, stopped talking to him for a couple years. He had kids, and I was like, hey, what happened? He's like, oh, like life's funny like that.
That's what you always say when shit takes a turn. It's either that or I fucking hate everything. You got two ways to look at it.
Or if you just want to do the Sackmaster mantra, my pull-out game is weak.
Does he have another kid now?
That's right, you told me. Yeah, we probably shouldn't talk about his babies without ado. I did have one high school teacher who, it was one of those situations where it's like, he was like, yeah, I used to be kind of like a high-powered finance guy. Like, he taught, like, the entrepreneurship class.
I picture the 80s guy from Futurama with bonitis.
No, he was, like, this, like, really, like... he was, like, this really weirdly nice, like, kind of... I don't want to call him dumpy, but, like, I don't know how else to describe his build. But he was just like, he was just like, oh, yeah, sound financial decisions. It basically sounded like this guy could have retired, but instead was like, I'm going to go teach high school in the Midwest somewhere. And just moved out from, like, New York and showed up, like, here with his wife in the suburb of Milwaukee and was just, like, doing this. And, like, it's one of those things, like, he didn't need to be there, so he wasn't really that fucking stressed. He taught one of the, like, business electives. And where are you gonna...
fucking great.
And where are you gonna find somebody more qualified than, like, a New York Wall Street guy?
And somebody who essentially just doesn't give a fuck if they keep the job or not,
Yeah, no,
it's going to be real.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, the guy was pretty cool. He had us, like, when I look at, like, if I watch, like, Shark Tank or something, like, this is one of the few classes that I was like, this is teaching a real world skill. Like, when they talk about, like, the business plans and, like, fucking marketing, like, all these different aspects of what you need to, like, even kind of get on your own shit. It's like, I learned that in this guy's class. Like, he literally had us basically build a business and make a business plan for
There's
it.
also this thing about, like, New Yorkers. They like to think their shit don't stink, and a lot of them, I would say more than half of the New Yorkers that I've had to deal with in, like, business, they think they're a thug. They try to just have this, like, thuggish angle.
Wasn't
on
a
you.
native
I'm gonna
New
muscle
Yorker.
you out. That's like a big
wasn't-
city thing, though.
Yeah, he wasn't a native New Yorker, though, so he didn't have, like, the affectation. He, like, moved there for work.
What my brother told me about New Yorkers is they really like telling drawn out stories, whereas in the Midwest we're pretty succinct and to the point. They really like telling these grandiose stories that we can wrap up a point in maybe 5-10 minutes.
So I went down and I told him, Johnny, you can't be doing that. I told you to your sister last week. And you're here sitting here doing the same goddamn shit, Johnny. This reminds me of the time I saw you the week before that.
But we can tell a story and, like, wrap it up in 5-15 minutes and get to the point. Brian was telling me it can take like an hour and a half for some of these guys, where it's just like, it just keeps going.
No, you just walk away. It's a free fucking country. You walk away from that shit. You say, no, we're not doing this anymore.
When I was managing the project of installing our new phone system at work, they were talking about this feature that they could put on where it's like, you can, if somebody is in a call, you can interrupt the call and they will not only hear your page, but you can jump in to the call forcefully. And
what are you doing in here? What are you doing on line 4?
Get back to work, Jason.
But
that's some fucking,
what they
like,
said
sitcom
was
shit.
Basically nobody ever wants this feature except in New York. Everybody wants it in New York.
Hey, what are you guys talking about on line 4?
Funny story. Get back to work. That's like some Flintstones stuff. Like something out of the Flintstones or the Jetsons almost.
Hey, John, get over here. I'm listening to a story on lines 1, 4, and 6. These motherfuckers are hilarious.
I swear to God, I just...
Did you pass or you take it?
Oh, we passed. We passed. But I was gonna say, all I hear when Sean does a New York accent is just goblins.
Goblins.
Fucking goblins.
All right.
Well, that was.
They're in WoW.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the goblins in WoW were New York accents, and when we played,
Bunch of Bostonites.
Yeah, when we played
D&D, that's what he usually does.
That's what he usually does. Like, I'm gonna say his goal watch for like 300 trees. Give me your lots. I'm gonna use that to make an army.
That's the also funny joke I hear all the time is when talking about like D&D or like high fantasy. Like, tell me the last fantasy flick you watched where they didn't all talk in British accents, because Britain is the only fucking country that was in the fantasy world apparently. Like, it sounds, like mystical because it's fancy. Look at these motherfuckers.
Does it?
So Americans eat that shit up.
That's not the fucking when I think of British accents, I think it's like, oh, the Cockney sayings. Oh, you want to hear me? You want to put your peepers in me bum and hear me come? Oh,
that's the UK version of us making fun of Southerners. Because like in like London, they don't have like a very strong, like there's a lot of parts where they don't have that strong of an accent. It's just kind of like a little faint thing.
Oh, Doug loves my Tracer impression.
Oh yeah, do it.
What is it?
Tracer! Deja vu! Tea and crumpets! Winston Churchill! That's rubbish! That's rubbish! That's rubbish!
You sound almost more Australian than English.
Most annoying character Blizzard has ever made.
That's rubbish! That's rubbish! Winston Churchill!
Sir, I must implore you, that is rubbish!
Oh. I promised Emily I'd bring up some of her important points, and I don't want to talk about most of them.
You're like, she's got some. You're like, she's got some jokes. I was gonna text back, she better, if she's gone forever.
I'll talk about one of these things though. She hit me.
Was it news?
List. It's not like news so much as like current event-ish things. Childish Gambino, This Is America.
Oh, I was hoping this would come up tonight. Loved it.
I did
watched
too.
it.
But what I didn't love about it was the I loved all the stuff that was like hidden in it, but I hated that there was essentially a media push before people could even essentially like be like, oh, pick this apart. There was already like news stories essentially that it's like, oh, the things you missed in the Childish Gambino video.
There was a PR campaign of pretty large proportions that was executed very well because Childish Gambino's video is amazingly successful right now, or has been like blowing up.
And honestly, I felt like when I saw it, it would have. Either way, it was like so good. I loved it. I loved it. I don't want to, like, my points about this, I don't want that to overshadow
the fact that it was a good video. It was a good song.
Absolutely.
I also agree. Really liked it. I think the amount of people who are like, he's the voice of a generation. Like some people, obviously, with anything that's good, some people are like, this is the best thing. No one's ever said it like this. And it's like, well, no, this has literally been hip hop for the past 20 years.
Right. It's just, you finally have somebody like
speaking your language.
Yeah. And it's
come to the forefront of the country's mind at the moment too.
Yeah. And it's like a good representation of it where it's kind of gritty. It's not about like the flashiness and stuff like that. It's essentially the exact opposite of what
it shows a good dichotomy.
The money fucking thing. It's like going against that essentially. So
yeah, and I think
did he make the video himself?
I believe so.
Usually they don't.
You can't quote me on that.
Say.
In fact, that's a good point. At the same time, Childish Gambino has done like acting, directing, and been in the rap game.
Usually
that's when you're going away from Childish Gambino and you're Donald Glover.
Yeah, Donald
But
Glover.
like usually they don't make their own music videos.
Yeah, well, the logistics of it. It essentially reminded me of Mr. Crinkle. With the thing that I liked about it, what really grabbed my attention is like Mr. Crinkle and this video are essentially shot in the same location. They're designed the Childish Gambino definitely has some cut points, but it's set up like it is one continuous take. And big takes of the music video are just like these feats of choreography where the camera is just essentially backing up and all this stuff is happening and everybody's hitting their marks and all these things are hitting the cues. And that was something that was really cool about the Mr. Crinkle video. It was just Les Claypool in a pig costume.
Yeah.
Very low angle. He's just stationarily playing the upright bass, and then it has just a circus parading
around him.
But that was I'm not saying it's better, but that actually was one whole take. The entire video is just one whole take.
We like Primus here.
The director was Hiro Murai, an immigrant from... He's Asian, so, I mean, if I had to make a guess...
Asia area.
Yeah. Japanese born. Okay.
But to cover some of the points in the, the follow-up news stories, there definitely was some cool imagery buried behind a music video that was designed to snatch your attention. And there was so much going on that they snuck a few things by you know?
Okay, I haven't watched it. So
I've heard a lot of comparisons between him and Kanye West lately.
I feel like he's actually like at the point in his career where Kanye actually had something relevant to say.
And that's what a lot of people are saying, is that he's like the new Kanye and stuff like that. I don't know if I respect the old Kanye enough to even say that like that's something to aspire to.
Kind of always thought he had a little bit of an issue,
being a douchebag.
Yeah. Essentially, I feel like a lot of people started hating on Kanye recently, and my reaction to that was, so this is finally what like took you over the edge to just not really.
Yeah, I hear you. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've never really been on. I mean, me and Stefan have had obviously a million conversations about music and.
But there's also another point that I want to bring up is, just so we don't keep talking about him, it's that this might just be another publicity stunt to promote his album. So let's not give him the platform.
Who?
Kanye.
Oh, Kanye. Oh, yeah. Well, he's...
Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, by all means.
Oh, yeah, because he actually released something worth talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was more just like drawing like the old school comparison, because I've heard a lot of people talking about that. I don't necessarily want to get into a whole...
I don't know. We could talk music, though.
We could talk music.
Absolutely.
We're on the note.
We are on the note.
Yeah, let me just boot this
I'll
up
actually
here.
start this off.
Okay,
all right, yeah.
Okay, so actually, when we first started this little bit, we were talking about looking back at our artists' influences, which is something I really actually enjoy doing.
It's fun to do. Just like it's like tracing the ancestry of what you listen to.
So I went maybe like 2 years ago. I started listening to more like just strictly European metal, and
for like a period of time.
I'm still just listening to European metal.
Wow,
mostly.
That is a long kick.
There's a lot of stuff over there.
He keeps
because I just continuously digest. So I went back to Europe's extreme metal roots. So during like 1980, extreme. Yeah, no. But in the US in the 1980s, we had Slayer and Metallica. Europe had Celtic Frost, who went through a couple name changes, but they started in 1980 as Grave Hill and then Hellhammer, and then they became Celtic Frost. And it's interesting because the US has a more technical side, and Europe is definitely mainly focused on riffing, and they definitely get it from Celtic Frost. These guys, it's just heavy riffs, like super small technical parts.
Like when you're talking about riffing and technical, like that's like what I would say the middle ground essentially is the.
I'm talking like there's a
the
lack
burner.
I'm talking there's a complete like lack of soloing almost. It's just riffing.
For the European thing.
Yeah,
I'd love that. I'm not really a solo person. I constantly refer to it as wank.
So there's like
we talked about that last.
But that's
what it is when you have somebody who's just like.
But Europe has a lot.
This isn't even my fretting hand. This is the wrong hand.
You're gonna find that most like European extreme metal, outside of maybe some of the Swedish stuff, doesn't really have wank. So I checked out Celtic Frost, and to be honest with you, it was a bit of a struggle for me because this is before really vocals were yelled, so they had like this raspy, forced presentation on the vocals, which was a real big turnoff for me. But
I mean, you're coming. This is the 80s, right?
Yeah.
You're coming from the 70s where the heaviest thing was probably like Black Sabbath, something like screaming in music pretty much didn't exist.
I know. But it takes a while to get used to. So Celtic Frost was Europe's foray into extreme metal. And
actually, can I stop you? Like, there is something with the Beatles, Twist and Shout. They recorded that song essentially at the end of the day of recording, where Paul's and I kind of hate the Beatles, hate the whole like false nostalgia around them, but there is some like yelling in it where people didn't like it because they're like, oh, he's just screaming. He's not screaming, but he essentially like used like the rawness of his voice on the recording. It's like once his voice got to that stage, he was able to do that.
But so I listened to these guys' whole discography, and I think my favorite album out of all of theirs was Morbid Tales, because it's mostly
you listen to them all, not just one.
Yeah, but Morbid Tales was the one I started with, and it was probably my favorite album overall. I think it's actually a compilation album, just because the fact that they started with heavy riffing, and then I think they got a little bit more avant-garde and experimental as they went on, but you can definitely see the influence from pretty much every extreme metal act to come out of Europe from these guys. From the heavy riffs to the weird experimental avant-garde stuff, and even their image and the way they present it. These guys were one of the first people to do like corpse paint and all that stuff, have like the dead serious style. Overall, I'm definitely not super into them, but it was definitely worth checking out, just from like a history standpoint for me.
I still really want to do a corpse paint bar crawl. I just love it. Just get our friends together. We're all just
only drink dark beers.
The darkest.
But it was definitely interesting, just getting to know the history and then really seeing where a lot of Europe gets its roots versus in the US, where we obviously have Slayer and Metallica and Anthrax and all that thrash stuff, where they have a much, I'm going to say it's a slower, just bone-crushing style, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
You want to go next, Sean, or should I?
I would love to. This week, I think I'll be choosing one of the many Rhymesayers artists I listen to, Dem Atlas, kind of a sleeper on my pick. I've been listening to his 2014 album, Downer, DWNR. I had no idea who this guy was until probably 6 months ago. He opened, he's one of the newer signs to Rhymesayers. Same label who does like the Atmosphere, the Brother Ali, the Aesop Rock, for people who may not know about the collection. That much. Yeah, those are the. Although it seems like they even signed MF Doom here fairly recently. Like they have some.
Oh, that's legit.
Profs on that label too. Basically a bunch of folks.
You got everybody you like.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I am a big fan of a lot. Like Jake One's on that label.
It's your nuclear assault.
For real, between Rhymesayers and Demigods, your boy could probably just be like, this is my hip hop. But Dem Atlas, he opened for Greaves, who's also in Rhymesayers, hence they're touring together. But he opened for them, and he opened for Greaves, and I saw him, and I had no idea who this guy was prior to seeing him.
Oh yeah. Sometimes that's a really cool way to find an artist. I remember going to see, like we mentioned, we like Primus. I went to see Les Claypool's off project, Bucket of Bernie Brains. And they had this band called Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum. And it was essentially like watching a avant-garde metal polyphonic spree cult band. They all had like these white robes.
That's a lot of adjectives.
I know. But that's just like how I ended up discovering them. But
let's
continue.
Yeah, no, I
picture just like Sunno only wearing white.
I've had a lot of success with that too, as far as, I mean, maybe not always like falling in love with the artist, but at the same time having an interesting experience with what comes on before what I came here to see. And I don't jock ride that hard as far as like knowing like even labels or artists, like anything behind their music. I'm kind of in it for the music, and everything else can kind of go fuck off. But that guy put on, not only was he like a performer, but he had performances that translated well to like give an understanding of his music. He has like the really soulful like singing hooks, but at the same time, he can even sing like the lyrics to where he's got like a pretty good message, a pretty good flow. Downer, Dandelions was probably one of my favorite standout songs on that album. Absolutely crusher. I was listening to it like on repeat for a week after I discovered him. It was popping up my Spotify like ever since then. I mean, if you don't want to check out him, check out the rest of the label, because they got some pretty fire art. Props on tour. I'm gonna read this while Doug goes to his his
what
pick.
you got, buddy?
Stefan can probably identify with me on this one. This one is Ween.
I have a favorite track by them already, and I play it a lot at work.
Is it Big Fat Fuck?
Yeah. I'll just sit, because I'm on like a corner spot at work, and I just blast that, and everyone's just kind of walking around.
Hey, could you tell us how that song goes?
I wish I could just play a sample of it, but the lyrics go, big fat fuck.
Feeling like a big fat fuck. Big fat fuck. That's I put up a music thread on St. Patrick's Day. Just been doing some day drinking, doing some card writing. And I was like, please, you drunkies, send me your weird music, and the internet delivered.
Delivered with Ween.
Absolutely. Anytime, I've always had great success with just putting up a music thread on Facebook, because I have like a lot of friends from like all over the place. Some I've never even met. That they all are really weird. They're all into like really quirky music.
So did you enjoy more of Ween then?
No. I did not like this album that much.
They're all over the place.
Paul recommended me, Punk Rock Paul.
Yeah.
He recommended me Big Fat Fuck in that thread. And that's what got me onto this album. Ween, Shinola from 2005. I didn't really know it until after I had started listening that this is a rarities album. It's not like an album that they sat down and wrote and recorded like a regular release. It was just kind of like a B-sides.
I mean, to be fair, they are just regularly all over the place. They have a little bit of everything on their albums.
This album, same shit. Like, it is just all over the place. There is no semblance of style, essentially. And that comes from them. That's what you get with Ween. And I just found their like backstory way more interesting
than the actual music.
Yeah.
They do have a good story.
Basically, they've been around since the late 80s. It was just like two friends who started just like recording music together. And it's essentially parody that has gone past parody into avant-garde weird
I have seen
music.
friends do that.
And like somebody who becomes their
own
like,
parody.
Exactly.
But I don't feel like they've essentially done that. It's like it's just all making fun of rock and roll music, the paradigm around like rock and roll.
Yeah.
But they go so far into it that like they have their own alternate universe where their like lore or their music essentially takes place, even equipped with their own like demon god called the Bugnish.
These guys are Canadian, right?
No. I don't know where they're initially from, but yeah, they. Anyways, back to this album. I don't know what to fucking say about this album other than big fat fucks on it. It's just a bunch of
Sorry, they're
one-offs.
from Pennsylvania.
If you want to check out like a really good Ween song, check out Big Fat Fuck. And this song this album is just all over the place, from like having these weird like bloopy synth carried, it's like essentially carrying that song through it, to like acoustic ballads, to I fell in love with this one girl and she didn't love me.
Yeah, they're all over the place. It's still fun though.
Yeah, Ween, lots of fun. I just had never really had a frame of reference on them. I had known about them since like late 90s probably, but
why do people tour in Montana?
because they never get anything. When they go there, they're desperate enough that they'll travel.
They're just gods.
Yep.
Because I'm looking at this tour dates for this guy that's on tour right now, and he's playing multiple shows in Montana.
Is he like a big name, really?
He's mediums, small. It's on the small side of medium.
What he's probably doing is building his like audience.
Base, probably.
Yeah.
Who would come all the way out here and see me?
Because he's doing basically a West Coast and Dead Zone tour. Like it's literally like Montana,
like
Washington, California.
For your first couple
Colorado.
tours, like Oceano did that. They really played like a lot of really small places.
Play all the shit nobody goes to.
Yeah, like the VFWs, all those places. It goes beyond just doing that because that's what you do initially. Like After the Burial, Veil of Maya. They're playing in. They're playing at the Rave this Thursday.
Who, Veil of Maya?
Dave Tarantino. He's opening
Veil
up
of Maya or Oceano?
Oceano. Or not Oceano. Veil of Maya. Monorail Central, local band.
I do not like where Veil of Maya ended up with their sound.
Yeah, me neither.
Which is a shame. But also, I'm just, like I was saying, I'm literally only been listening to like European metal for a long time now. Like that whole Celtic Frost thing, it's just like totally different. They evolved in.
I'm sorry, Doug. How do you spell Ween?
Ween.
It's literally like your wiener.
Like you were talking about with the wank and stuff. There's a lot less wank over there. And as a guy who...
Well, that makes sense because that's where I picked up that term from, was through English friends on Facebook who referring to metal. And
they have a lot less wank.
Self-indulgent guitar music. Wank.
And as a guy, like I prefer like the rhythm guitar parts anyway, because that's the stuff I prefer to play.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoy the stuff they have going on over there. I don't know if you'd really enjoy Celtic Frost. You might. But for me, they were still a little bit out there. I definitely respect what they did. But yeah, Veil of Maya, though, what happened to those guys? Come on. It's that whole like progressive... Dude, progressive. It's just...
I saw it happen with people I was working with in the area. They essentially started writing things with Guitar Pro. Instead of I don't want to say this outright because I don't know what the fuck happened with them, but what you're essentially saying is like going into just this mechanical, completely machine style, right? Or do you mean something else?
Yeah, I'd say it's just the machined hammering, I guess. Breakdowns just took over and went too far, and then the whole song became different tempoed breakdowns, essentially, I guess. Right?
So what I feel like a lot of people in the area that I used to like write with, they started just writing in Guitar Pro before they even played a note on their guitar. I really don't like that. I could understand it if you're a drummer who doesn't play guitar. You could potentially write you could use MIDI to essentially write your drum parts.
Which is where you start, right? When you make a song, you should start with the drums.
It depends. It comes, like, things come from different places.
I should say when you start recording, you should start with the drums.
Well, it depends on where you're at, essentially. Like, if you're recording, yes, drums start first. But sometimes you write a guitar riff first. Sometimes you write a drum part first. It depends on if you're a writer for either one of those.
Yeah. When you record, you start with drums.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, because they're like the heartbeat of the band.
They're the engine. Okay.
But what I'm talking about is like somebody who's a drummer, not a recording engineer, not a composer. Somebody who's just writing some drum parts, and they have some melodic ideas in their head, and they don't have a frame of reference for what's possible on the guitar. They would write in MIDI just on a piano roll, essentially. And they would, like, I have a guy who would write just these crazy machine-like drum, or these guitar parts that were impossible. Mechanically impossible for the human hands. And I was just like, dude, I have to kind of rework some of these.
Get more fingers.
It's
right?
Fucking idiot.
Don't you have he's like, you have a 7-string, just get some more fingers, bro.
So you have 7 strings but only 5 fingers? How the fuck were you expecting to play guitar?
I'm gonna start playing with my dick too.
Do the murder face.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the William murder face. Yeah. You beat me to the one fucking metal joke I know how to make. It's goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. This is Radio Loud. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Sullivan. Go fuck yourself.
I'm sorry, I took that from him.
I actually said it first.
William Murderface plays bass guitar with his penis.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, spoiler alert for that 10-year-old shitty Adult Swim show.
But
that everybody forgot about.
What I was trying to say, to make my point,
they didn't get the last season.
To make my point, where I feel like that style of mechanical music came from was I felt like it was okay if you're a drummer and you're trying to just write some melodic ideas.
But people went too hard into the...
No, just completely non-drummers is that guitar players started writing in Guitar Pro.
They went to an automated form of doing it.
Skirt, skirt.
And they started writing music that they can't even play.
Skirt, skirt. This is me drifting the topic
it's like
in the suggestion box instead of a 45 minute
Let's take a break.
I was going to talk about rap.
We're going to take a break.
I was going to talk about rap.
We don't need to talk about anything right now.
When rap artists chop out their out their breasts, and then you see them live, and you're like, this guy has no fucking breath control.
Yeah, it happens all the time. We have mixed ourselves beyond human comprehension.
I feel like whenever I worked on editing vocals, I always tried to tastefully leave in the breaths. So
it's your job as a fucking rapper to be able to say what you fucking claim you can say.
Right.
Or you're just a Moral Technique.
Or it just ends up like a fucking
a Moral Technique song.
The end of the end of a commercial with a disclaimer. It's like, oh,
no, because see what I have to do, because I am Mortal Technique. You gotta breath control struggles when you got one lung and you still smoke cigarettes. Sorry, Mom and
Dad. Busted.
Turn your head. I told them I would carefully curate an episode or a teaser that they can listen to that has been pre-approved by moi. But I subscribe to the podcast on both of their fucking iPhones.
So your parents listen to it? My dad does.
No, hell.
All right, anyway, say your point.
When I take the breath, I fucking stage left that bitch. 90-degree angle. Gotcha! You didn't hear that shit, did you?
You're like an Olympic swimmer.
Dude, I'm Michael Phelps of rapping. Thank you. That's our music segment.
That's a little ambitious. Oh, we'll be right back.
Aim for the moon, you miss, you still land among the stars. Mike Phelps is a star himself.
So come out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs. We'll do a podcast. It'll be fun.
You've been listening to Radio Loud.
If you want to find us on multiple media platforms like YouTube, just type in Radio Loud, you big dummy. Or you can find us on Google Play, Stitcher, or Podbean at radioloud.podbean.com.
Questions, criticisms, if you would like to get on the show, add us at Loudest Podcast on Twitter.
See how mine is.
You want to lead us into your favorite bit here?
All right. As Stefan said last week, and I thought it was the best, the hour is now. It is time for our only original segment, Nation. It's time for Suggestion Box.
What's up, America? We're doing Suggestion Box.
Now, for those who don't know what Suggestion Box is, it's our only original segment where we write things during the week and expand upon them. We essentially drop a card in a box with an idea and then read from it. We're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah, we understand out there, America, if you've not ever heard of the idea of a suggestion box before, because, you know, you live
under a rock.
Under a rock or an equally hard geological imprint.
I gotta find my place because some of my reads are from last week.
That's cool. I got one to start off.
Okay.
This one could be a total miss, too. Steel toe boots, nah, real toe shoes.
Wait, what?
Steel toe boots, nah, they're real toe shoes.
Wait, so they're actually like connected to your nerve endings?
I'm not even 100% sure what I was thinking. I don't know if I was thinking there was already toes in the boot, or they were drunk? Like those skeleton
toe things. Yeah, the toe shoes,
the sock, the toe
grippies.
Fitting shoes. Yeah, grippies or whatever they're called.
What you're talking about?
But they're steel toe maybe on top. I don't even know.
They
but
just
that's
have
what
steel plates. They're like armored toe sandals.
You know what popped into my head for that? Basically, like steel toe boots are meant to protect, but real toe boots are like
meant to
hardwire in. They're hardwired into your nervous system, so you feel everything times 11.
That's an awful idea.
I know. It's for the masochist at home.
The guy who likes getting his toes stepped on.
Oh, that just sounds awful.
Yeah, I don't know why you would ever, especially amp up the sensitivity on the outside of your shoes.
I was courting a gothic, big titty goth girl. And
I'm sorry, under what pretense were you recording this big titty goth girl?
No, we weren't courting.
Oh, okay.
Courting.
Milady.
I thought that was a missed record. I was recording this big titty goth girl.
We had basically here's your notes in case you need these. Basically, she was watching this documentary about this dude who was so hopeless in his love life that he was just going into any situation to meet his future girlfriend, wife, whatever. And you know, hilarity ensues. He's just a hopeless guy, but he got into this situation where he was essentially subjected to a dominatrix who was into CBT.
Okay.
Which means cock and ball torture.
Yeah.
Crush him.
Yeah, basically this guy, like in this documentary, walked into this place.
So
like,
desperate.
okay, I'm going to step on your balls now with my high heels. Yeah.
Cut that shit.
That's
no one wants to hear
shit.
that at work.
Oh, it hurts. Okay. So this one is literally just one line, but I have a little bit of a preface for it. You know how there's like those hippie chicks out there who's like, oh, I'm going to like schedule my birth. We're going to go out into the ocean and we're going to have like a water birth. I'm going to be born. We're going to born my child into the world with the dolphins.
We're going to bear my child.
Yeah. So, like a dolphin birth or something like that.
Yeah, and then an orca is going to swim up into the fucking bay that you're birthing this child in. They're going to eat you and the baby and all the fucking
It'll be like the dolphins in Sea Lab.
Dude,
there's just a school of fish and they just swarm the placenta.
Dude, that's exactly what it'll be. It'll be a goddamn feeding frenzy, and no one will ever do this dumb shit again.
Okay, so here's the actual read. It's called suspension birth. So, like, I'm talking about, like, the people are into, like, the piercing subculture.
The piercing suspensions?
okay.
Where they actually, like, pierce your back and hang you from meat hooks.
Oh, my... Why are we on this filthy
And then you birth your child. Because it was just like, okay, dolphin births seem, like, absurd. What's another absurd birth situation?
That is
suspension
That's
birth.
straight out of 40K Chaos Marines.
It's like some
that's
fucking
how
Hellraiser
Chaos
shit.
Marines. Yeah, that's how Chaos Marines are born. They hang them
we have
over
another
a paint of black.
We have another soul for the horde.
They actually have a really messed up book with making new Space Marines for the faction called the Iron Warriors, and I don't actually want to go into it.
Because it's like that.
It was worse. So much
It's
worse.
a little bit PG-20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I have Carnival of Horrors.
Carnival
Things that
Wars?
mildly peeve you. So, like a guy.
Carnival of mild irritations.
Yeah, so it's a guy who maybe, for me, when he eats his cereal, slurps the milk first and then eats the cereal off the spoon.
Carnival of Horrors.
Things that mildly peeve you.
Let me see.
People who leave more than a full car's length when they're pulling up to a red light. There'll be that one douchebag.
Oh, they leave like 4? I
Yeah.
had that on the
It'll
way.
be the guy who breaks a block before the red light to
Had that on
slowly ease in at 5 miles an hour down like an entire city
That would be like a
block.
roller coaster ride, except it would be
It'd
like a lazy river.
You'd have to hop on it, and it'd be like the most intense, fast-paced thrill ride of your life. And then you fucking get on there, and it's like there's another coaster in front of you that's just like a little beat down, and it's just is moving too slow for you to get past it, and you just spend like 45 minutes behind this other slow fucking track coaster.
Mine would be exodus of like a meeting or something, and there's a choke point at work, and you just want to grab their hand and take them out of this narrow hallway, around the corner 2 feet, and just be like, don't stand where people are trying to walk. Especially after there's 40 people walking behind you trying to walk through here.
Yeah, we worked at a place that would do the all hands. In fact, I think Stefan was talking about it a little earlier today.
Just cram all 300 people in this little room.
Cram it. Like they would set up. It would basically be wall to wall chairs in this huge like kitchen cafeteria auditorium thing, and everybody would file out, and there'd be the one choke point, and fucking like
Everyone's just like,
and like there'd be some asshole who's like a
Having a
manager.
conversation
Yeah, and
or
he's like,
something.
oh, hey, I got you here for a second. Oh, I need him too. And suddenly there's like
or they're like, great meeting, stopping random people as they're trying to exit.
yeah, the random CEOs or new VP who's only been here for a week because of the turnover rate.
But
there.
you actually have people who just like stop you and are like, oh, great meeting.
Yes.
Yes. I love that meeting. Like that really got my meeting boner. This big.
For them, I imagine that's exactly what it is because they have meetings so often there.
I was just gonna say that it's like what we were talking about earlier with you embrace something you hate in like a satirical manner so hard that after 15 years you're like, that was a pretty good meeting. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, Christ.
Garbage people.
Kill me now.
Okay.
Okay, this one is called Small aspirations. It is a Andre the Giant type character.
Call him Andre.
Andre.
Thank you.
Eric Andre the Giant.
I would watch the fuck
I know,
out of that.
Right? This is like, oh, I'm wild and crazy. I could also kill you.
I bet the guests on his show would be a lot less willing to walk off if they knew Andre the Giant. Eric Andre the Giant could smash them like his plywood desk that he does every week.
Where are you going, mere mortal?
Have you watched?
They try to walk away, he just grabs them by the collar.
Not to interrupt your, I'm sure, amazing.
No, go
segment.
for it. This is what this is for.
Have you ever seen the T.I. and Eric Andre episode?
Oh yeah, I actually told somebody who had never seen an episode of Eric Andre to watch that shit.
That is the one.
He literally gets a fucking. He's like, oh, I took too many boner pills, and his fucking cock shoots through the desk, and then he
his
just
cock,
starts
but-
jerking it off, and T.I.'s just like,
Spud.
and then he's just like, he lets it go of it, and it's just like. It's like, I think I broke my penis.
Slurps right down into the fucking.
And then he
table.
just tries to shake his hand.
Yeah,
He's
goes
like,
up
don't
with a
fucking
handshake.
touch me.
Dude. And
I saw the one with the guy from Jersey Shore where he's like, guess what this is? And he slaps him in the mouth with a hot dog.
No, dude. Later in that same T.I. episode, though, they have this dude come out in like a motorcycle helmet, like an orange motorcycle helmet, and like he's got those puffy cheese balls all over him, and he's wearing like cheese pants.
Cheese puffs.
And they go, oh, it's Kraft Punk.
Yeah, Kraft Punk. They brought Kraft Punk out on the T.I. episode too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
I went back to T.I. because there was so many good moments, and that motherfucker just walked off. He's like, "No, I'm done." Oh, that's right. They had a pantsless intern, like a dick out white boy intern.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Kimmel's son that came out and rushed the stage when Jimmy Kimmel was on.
Wait, the pantsless guy? Because he's
This
scared
is Jimmy
off
Kimmel's
T.I.
son.
They had a pantsless intern.
Yeah, I think it was like the same thing happened when Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel needs to get some reins on his fucking children.
Oh, he's out there. He's interning, man. He's out there interning. He's
Showing
like,
his dick off?
He's out there. He's
Doesn't
working
give
the
a fuck.
teleprompter, and then he just rushes the stage on his father. But that's how they got Jimmy Kimmel to agree to do Eric Andre.
Because
his
his dad's
son.
on the show. Yeah, because his son's on the
Hey,
show.
Dad,
Yeah.
you want to come see the show? Want to come be on
Well,
the show that I'm
he's
working
not on the show, but he was that day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how he got him. You want to come see where I work?
If
Be on
to
the show?
If you come to my job, I'll get on TV. So wait, did he rush the stage pantsless?
Yeah.
Against
Yeah,
his dad?
like
That's what he's
completely
saying.
nude.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so
That's not no.
small aspirations. An Andre the Giant type character is tired of being typecast as such. This was kind of going after the Vern Troyer conversation we had.
All right.
I'm
and-
sick of being the big show.
Yeah. His dream is to one day play a dwarf.
The magic of cinematography.
That's
Right.
You just flipped the whole the dwarf wanting to play a giant or whatever. I like it.
Yeah, and they're like, what do we do?
Well, let's 3D render him and put his voice over it.
No, they'd poorly Photoshop it and just cut out this middle segment, so he'd be like this freak of like he goes straight from knees to shoulders. I don't understand. What's
I
happening.
picture the talking orange.
Oh yeah, that
The
shitty
annoying
mouth.
orange?
Yeah,
the
they
shitty
cut
mouth on the...
his face and just paste it shittily on a dwarf.
Oh, it'd be like a face swap.
Yeah, a
of
really
like
bad
a Snapchat
face swap.
filter.
Speaking of annoying orange, when I signed us up for our YouTube page, they actually had like a fucking promo video for like how to do branding on YouTube with the guy who made annoying orange, and it's just like, all right, what do you got? And he's just like, well, when I established my brand, I made sure that I wanted to be an apple first, and I just thought annoying orange rolled off the tongue for better. And when people look up that show, they know exactly what they're getting. An annoying orange. An orange that's annoying. And I'm just like,
God damn it.
I am annoyed. You called it.
this is the Seventh Reich.
We skipped all the ones in the middle. We went right to fucking danger level 7.
The Sixth Reich was the carnival casino that Hunter S. Thompson went to, where there's like the floor where you can gamble, and then there's a circus going on above you, and then there's the main nerve of the American dream, where the attorney gets sick. That's where he says, like, this is the Sixth Reich. This is what we would have been doing if the Nazis won the war for fun. It's like, I actually, that would be the Eighth Reich, what I had described before. The Seventh Reich would be Radio Disney.
Yeah, we're
just
on the
sitting
Eighth
in
Reich.
the car. Radio Disney, we're all here, and you're the dad driving the fucking thing. Your kids are totally into it, and you're just like, this is the Seventh Reich.
And you're worried about the whole time them narking on you for not singing along and getting you deported to fucking Walt Disney World.
You know, I was
where
gonna say,
have
you
to
know what I'm worried
dredge
about
the
now?
moat outside of the
I was gonna say, you know what I'm worried
castle.
about now is the Seventh Reich Disney coming to get us.
That's what I'm literally talking about right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
they have
sing.
all the media.
If you don't sing along, they will take you to Walt Disney World.
No, I mean
force
coming
you to
get
dredge
us
out.
for what we just said.
I'm trying to warn you, and you're not listening. Why aren't you listening to me, Stefan? I'm warning you to not use the D word.
Was that dwarf?
No, Disney. They'll arrest
right.
Buzz yourself. What are you doing? Okay. This is... You'll see where I'm going here. Colombian drug cartels sue white supremacists for defamation over white makes right. Because cocaine.
Yeah, I got that, but what?
Okay, one more time from the top.
Colombian drug cartels sue white supremacists for defamation over white makes right. Because they want to use it as their slogan for cocaine.
Oh, so
White makes it all right.
They have to have like a civil court battle over who has the right to use this catchy slogan.
Now, could you imagine the effects of the drug actually, without using it, takes care of their enthusiasm? They're like, oh, we got a really good slogan. It's white makes right. Oh, yeah, that's a really good idea. A really good idea is, I'm not feeling it anymore.
Hey, quick, do another line. We'll think of something really good.
It's like, oh, I got this really good idea for a propaganda film. It's like, write this down right now. Basically,
shit, I lost it. Quick, I need some more of that creativity dust. Some of that fairy dust.
This one is actually in the same vein of the the being sued for something.
All right, give it to me straight, Dougie.
It's called seppuku. It's the correct way to say it, right?
Seppuku.
Seppuku. A failed American businessman commits suicide by disembowelment.
Ritual suicide. Beautiful. Love
Yep.
it.
And an activist group tries to sue him for a cultural appropriation.
My culture is not your goddamn suicide note.
I dig it.
Oh my god.
So what would his failed business be?
Selling Sudokus.
He'd be a yoga instructor or something
he's
like
a door-to-door Sudoku salesman. Those exist, right?
that. He's selling puzzles.
He'd be selling something that's actual cultural appropriation.
Got it. Cutco knives.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then he would kill himself, and then they would try to come after him, and then somebody would just have to explain, he's dead.
Can he sell Bud K katanas instead?
Oh, white carbon steel handmade katanas sold to you on
Hitachi Hanzo.
sold to you right here on HGTV. And you know what? If you buy it right now, we are going to throw in this beautiful, lovely bamboo carved knife holding stand. In addition, now you probably wondering right here, right now, what am I going to do with that other placeholder on the stand? Well, I tell you
what
right
you're
now,
going to do is you're going to buy this steak knife set that is made out of stainless steel, so when your family-owned business collapses, you can stab yourself right inside of your guts.
Turn your insides into your outsides.
Oh, we only have like 80 left.
I promise that we don't have just like an Amazon account that we buy these from China.
Okay. This is off our Canadian superhero running
All
thing.
right, the Canadian
CCU.
superhero universe, the cinematic universe.
Would you like to know more?
All right.
Okay, so you know how drummers and certain other people are usually just seen as eccentric or weird?
Did you just put the two classifications of weird people as drummers and the rest of them? Is that how you look at fucked up people? Because they got a mental illness.
Well, you know how some like. Okay,
Drummers, bass players, they get shit on. Guitar players and vocalists, they get all the pussy.
but a lot of people will just be like, "Oh, drummers, they just like think differently." Well, there's something similar in hockey with goalies. So the Canadian superhero is called the Wall, and I
love this. I fucking love this.
and everyone he's like weird and eccentric to everyone in the Canadian group. They just like don't understand why he's so different. But the twist for him, at least the one I have written right now, is he's just like from Texas or something.
Yeah, he's Donald Trump.
He wears
Donald Trump is his alter ego.
He wears like 10-gallon hats, and everyone's just like, "This guy's so weird."
That's exactly what it is. He'd be either related to or actually Trump, and he is the Wall.
What I'm thinking of him as is that he would essentially like be in the right place at the wrong time, but to him it's the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's literally just a goalie, and he's like so used to being like the defense and not letting anything. No, he essentially is just
he
like
stops
standing
them
there
from leaving a burning building.
Yes, no, it's the right. He's a hero. So there is like a purse snatcher essentially. The purse snatcher just like walks into him and is like bunk and bounces off, and he's just like, "Oh, sorry."
I like the idea of he can't get on board with the rest of them, and so he's like ruining things. Oh, we gotta save people from this burning building. Don't worry, I'll stop them.
That's the thing. We can't do the archetype of just the dummy, because
It's from Texas.
no, he's like from Canada. That's the enforcer.
The weird thing I wrote.
That's the enforcer, because Doug Glatt was like, "Oh, I'm just a big stupid beater upper."
No,
definitely the goon.
No, we're
yeah.
breaking down walls. Our goon is actually a neuroscientist. Like we're fucking fuck stereotypes. No, our big tough guy. Oh yeah, he's smart.
Oh yeah, what was the goon character from last year? Was his name was Jean Beau Buffet.
Yeah, John Boba Fett.
The Mountie Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. The Mountie Bounty Hunter.
Ex-enforcer.
Yep. Oh, I like it. We should start archiving and maybe getting
The Canadian.
If anybody out there, whoever hears this podcast, ever wants
Oh,
to
I
draw
got them all.
some
I got them all up here.
No, dude, if anybody ever wants to draw some fan art of our CCU, bro, I'm talking. We would love to see what you have in your brain, in your little brain space.
Yeah. Write us on Twitter. At Loud Podcast. Give us your Canadian superheroes. We want to hear it.
Oh yeah, baby, get in those. I mean, either blast us or get all up in those DMs.
Is that the live stream?
The CSH, Canadian Superheroes? Is that our acronym for that?
No, it'd be the CCU, the Canadian.
Yeah, the CCU, Canadian.
CEU.
Canadian Cinematic Universe.
That's what it is. Yep.
CCM.
No.
But I was just gonna say,
CCM's a hockey company. I'm sorry.
Is Toggled the streamers equivalent of Tilted? Oh, bro, I'm Toggled.
Bro, I am. No, actually, they call it inting now. Is the new thing, where it's
I'm
intentionally feeding.
I'm not it anymore. It's very Simpsons. I used to be it. I'm not it anymore, and I just don't care.
That's why we've moved from playing the game to commentating on the game.
True fucking that, though.
You still got reads? Because I got one left.
Yep, I got one. This seemed appropriate to follow the Canadian edition.
Ooh.
This is an addition to Cajun Guy. Cajun
One of Doug's
Guy
personal favorites
is a phone sex operator.
It's just mumbles.
It's like, oh yeah, talk to me. He's like, wait, what? I'm kind of losing it. Here's like, yeah, scream at me like that.
Yeah. I don't know what you're saying, but it's passionate.
It's a tone of voice.
You got a lot of fire in your belly, kid.
Okay. So I didn't have a read last week for Tremors because I knew it was going to come up, but I managed to come up with one. Bert and Reba divorce. That's what I was kind of hitting on before.
I was gonna say, didn't we?
Is this a
we
sitcom?
touched on it, but for our listeners, Tremors, there's a character named Bert, and country music star Reba McEntire was his wife in the original Tremors cult classic, and they are both gun nuts. Essentially, in this small town, they have a fucking armory in their basement.
Can I interject real quick?
Sure, yeah.
I just realized Reba had her own sitcom called Reba.
Yeah.
She really missed out not having her divorced husband in that show be the guy that plays Bert Gummer.
Wasn't that like during the 90s though?
It was 90s,
like
early
late
2000s.
2000s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s.
Like Tremors was late 80s, early 90s.
But I mean, they had the show. And all. I don't know. I think that could have been.
That would have been a
days.
really
What?
fun cameo.
How dare you suggest that we replace Bert?
He's saying we replace Reba's sitcom shitty divorce
with
husband
Bert.
to tie in the
Okay.
Tremors, which would have been a perfect timeline. Fuck you,
been
Doug.
hilarious.
You missed the joke.
It's
Okay.
fine.
So,
All right.
finer details. They're going to court. They don't have kids. Who gets what guns?
Yeah, the HK. Who gets the HK?
This
Who
reminds
gets the
me,
tank buster?
This reminds me of a very interesting court case during the 90s, which happened in divorce court, and this is how they settled it.
Family court.
To split the couple's quote-unquote priceless Beanie Baby collection. All of the
Jesus.
Beanie Babies were piled in the center of the courtroom, and the couple, for about 2 hours, took turns picking out which ones they thought were the most valuable or the most precious, and made piles.
Finally,
on either side of
something
the room.
more useless than the NFL draft.
Beanie Babies divided up in divorce court.
So that was all fake, though, right? The divorce court and all that stuff. That was all staged, right? There's no way.
What?
Divorce court and all that. That's all staged.
Divorce? Are you saying
Oh,
the
yeah.
divorce is staged?
No, I'm talking about the TV show Divorce Court.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Night Court?
People's Court, the show you were literally just talking about.
Like
No.
Judge Judy,
No, I wasn't talking
Wapner,
about
all those
This
things.
is an
That's all
actual court case. This is not a court.
Oh, I thought you were
show.
talking about a TV court
No,
case.
this happened in the 90s. There was an actual court case, which during the whole fad of like these are going to be worth a lot of money someday.
Could you imagine
This
being
bitter couple.
the person who has to illustrate the court case?
It's just a pile of stuffed Beanie Babies.
I just drew the one picture. Is that going to be good for this whole afternoon?
Do you
Two
imagine
assholes and a pile of stuffed
being the
animals.
stenographer, just like
He picked
fuck my
Rosie
life?
the squirrel.
You actually like subconsciously like stream of conscious type "fuck my life" in the court records.
Just 500 pages of "I'm going to kill myself when I get home." Worth it.
Okay, my last one. Person has roller coaster / amusement park ride technician mechanic on a resume. They get hired on the job. Person seems slightly bit off. Comes to light later on that their actual experience was simply being the
On
butt
the
of
ride?
being the butt of the actual mechanics jokes where they'd just stick them on the ride for like 8 hours, just like, oh yeah, go make sure that thing works, and then they just stick them on the ride for an extended period of time. And now they're just like,
oh, I don't know what to do.
They have like, I don't know, like
I'm gonna go tighten some bolts.
like terrible flashbacks, or they have like the shivers. I don't know how to describe it. They're just
They have PTSD from being on the ride for so long.
For 8 hours.
I actually feel like that would almost play into like kind of the thing where somebody's been on the job for like years, still hasn't fucking learned a thing.
That's where I was getting it from.
Yeah.
Just like, I have all this experience.
We've literally
I
worked
still
with-
can't set up a machine even
Yeah.
though it was my job for 8 fucking years.
Yeah.
We have literally worked with engineers who
Everybody.
Come on, yeah.
They're in all walks of life.
they are in all walks of life, but we've worked with some people who've like, oh yeah, I was in this position, in the military. I'm an experienced electrical engineer of like 15 years. And someone else from the Navy goes, I actually know what that position is. He basically changed light bulbs on a ship for fucking 4 years. And working with the guy, I'd fucking believe it. So it's my 2 cents. I don't even remember that guy's name. He's that little of a fucking speck in the story that is my life.
Wah, wah.
That's a bad
Oh, I didn't mean that kind of wah wah. I meant for that guy.
Oh yeah, I meant a little bit. It was a little column A, a little column B.
Oh, this is a good segue off of that. It's called YouTube tutorial.
This is about Annoying Orange again.
Kind of.
Kind of where
Kind
you're
of.
getting the runoff from.
Giving a review or instructional video presentation on something that you can completely tell that the presenter is awful at.
I love that.
So my case in point, being into like audio and stuff like that, is basically looking up an audio tutorial and they're explaining something. It doesn't matter if like what they're saying is right or wrong. They got this the shit audio that they're presenting with.
Yeah.
So what would be a situation where somebody is essentially like about to present and the thing that would tip you off that this person is
That they don't know what the fuck they're
absolutely
talking about?
fucking terrible. Like I'm thinking like somebody is like, oh, you want to be a defensive lineman or something like that, and then they're just like
And then they get knocked over by a gust of
This
wind.
actually reminds me of a Mystery Science Theater episode where one of the pre-episodes to the movie was about posture and how to give an informative speech and hold your audience's attention. Something if somebody was talking about it and I knew they didn't know what they were talking about. I'm gonna need a second to think about that.
No, that's cool. I experience that a lot in the gaming culture, especially. You'll play with like some.
you'll
new
be
peop-
in a match with somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, I see it a lot with like friends of friends because gaming is
Ooh,
a very
yeah.
social aspect for me. And
I
so
just got mine going off of what you're probably actually about to say.
Yeah, but you'll basically hop in a game with some people that like, it's my buddy and like his work friend, and like they don't really know you or know like what your experiences are, and suddenly it's like, oh, this needs to be like this, and this needs to be like this. And it's just
Essentially,
like, good old fashioned ragers, and I've cut them even. I'm even beyond. We've had this conversation also multiple times. I'm beyond
the rage, baby.
Yeah, wah, wah, wah. I'm beyond cutting them out of like. I don't engage them on the actual platform, but I don't even play with the real life friends who like I can hang out with you in real life, but I won't play fucking games with you because you're whiny.
This is off more what you're saying is I play shooters where if you get shot and you're dead, you're out for the rest of the round. It's the guy that's telling you what to do and he's fucking dead.
All game. First guy
It's
shot.
like you're the
every
first guy
round.
dead.
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, go here. Oh, downstairs. No, he's downstairs. He's downstairs.
But he's on a mic though, right?
Oh, always.
Oh, yeah.
Always. That guy's always
fine.
got a mic.
I feel like that's a little bit less faux pas. It's the person who has literally got just typing.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It's like you are just taking the time to type. It's like, dude, go take a pee.
Right?
Go pour yourself a pint.
Go outside, have a cigarette, think about all the ways you just got fucked. And come back in here and get some more.
Come back here, get some.
Or
some
another good
seconds.
one would be, for me, would be
I was not the one I meant to
another good one. Another
Sean's getting used to the soundboard.
another good one for me though would be the car guy whose car is a total piece of junk.
Oh, yeah, the guy with the fucking rusted out wheel.
Yeah, the
wheel
guy who's
wells.
just like,
Yeah.
I know a ton about cars. And then he's driving like an absolute beater.
Yeah. The fuck.
Maybe just like couldn't afford it. I don't know. I was never really into that into cars.
To be fair, every car guy I do know has a good car, or at least a car that's washed regularly. At the very least, my turd's gonna be polished.
Oh, did you guys see the guy who took essentially the motor out of a Tesla and put it in a Honda? Like a
happened? No.
late 80s Honda body.
Did it move
Yeah.
fast?
It booked. It's like a what you call a sleeper PC, where you take an old PC case and it's just like this beige.
Yeah, they call them
early-
sleeper cars in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fucking rally racing and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially it
Got
was
the beater
like
with all the beater shell with all the nice hardware inside, which is not the car guys I was talking about.
he was a software engineer and he pretty much like designed the dashboard and all that stuff to be like pixel art for like the acceleration.
Wow.
There was like a high scoreboard for 0 to 60.
Oh, okay.
And it would literally do like 0 to 60 in like 2.6. Something like that. But
good
it's just this
lord.
like shitty little Honda. It almost looks like a.
Can you give me the stats on the 0 to 60 again?
like
Sports desk. Well, pink on the inside. Oh, Jesus.
But it was actually on the One Wheel group on Facebook. Somebody posted it, and I was just laying awake in the wee hours of the morning, wondering what the fuck I was doing with my entire life.
But souping out fucking Hondas.
Yeah, I was just like about to be like, this ain't fucking One Wheel content. But I actually watched it, got sucked into it, and he was like, this isn't a One Wheel, but cool video. And indeed, it was a cool video.
Oh, I caught you playing with your mouth stuff. And stick a finger in there. What?
What?
Yeah, I'm just teasing you.
Okay, this
Just rustling your
read
jimmies.
was encouraged by Sean's thing from last week in the beginning of the episode. It's movies retconned with Dr. Manhattan.
Fuck yeah, I want a segment like this every week.
Where can we put Dr. Manhattan?
Where does that big blue dick show up next?
Okay, the first episode, the first movie is called.
I have one for both of you on that.
First movie is Deep Blue Dick, where it's Deep Blue Sea, but it's instead of sharks, Dr. Manhattan's dick just eats Samuel L. Jackson
He's just
alive.
fucking shit all movie. Just swallowing it through his peephole.
It's like, oh, we need to escape this lab. We need to escape this sea lab.
I have
And,
one.
no, it'd be
Dr.
D-Lab. It'd be D-Lab.
I have one, but it doesn't have a good name pun. It's for both of you. It's Harry and the Hendersons with Dr. Manhattan.
Featuring
though,
Dr.
too.
Manhattan. It's like this summer's latest hip hop fucking fire track featuring Dr.
They
Manhattan.
find Dr. Manhattan. A family goes to Mars, and they find Dr. Manhattan brooding, and they have to bring him back to the colony. I personally, I wouldn't have pulled a Biker Mice from Mars.
I mean, you said Mars.
Oh,
Back to back, baby.
you gotta let it play out.
It's like a minute long.
You want to pass me a rock pop?
Can we get zapped for this?
Who is this Dr. Manhattan?
We don't even need to play. We don't even need breaks. We'll just play a biker mice from Mars. Go outside, fucking chill for a minute.
That's the thing with the biker mice from Mars soundbite. When you pull that one,
you better be
it's
ready.
The intro to the thing. Like we better be ready to segue into conspiracy theory.
We better get ready to dig in. Well, let's go dig right in.
We're gonna go deeper on Dr. Manhattan here.
Dr. Manhattan's gonna go.
This
deeper
was
on
the
you.
original read that I had thought of. This was Dr. Manhattan and the Technicolor Blue Dick. Where essentially Dr. Manhattan goes back to biblical times. His father gives him this coat, the Technicolor Dream Coat, and in the legend is his siblings essentially throw him into the pit because they were jealous of his father's favor. Not this time.
He bought David Nikes.
They are not jealous because he can literally rework space and time.
Jealous of.
They are just jealous of his big blue dick.
Oh wow! And then inevitably, when he meets the Pharaoh of Egypt, and the Pharaoh's like, "Wow, he's not impressed by his dreams or his prophecies or his bending space and time." The Pharaoh's just really, really into dudes, and is fascinated by this big blue dick.
Or he's just like, my dick isn't that big.
So insecure, he's just like, this is the new Pharaoh.
How could I be Pharaoh?
Yeah, I mean, they have to sword fight over it, right? That's how...
Instead of Pharaoh, from that day forward, it's fellatio.
Oh, phallus. I am fallow.
That's the end of my reads. That's all I got.
That's all you got? I have some like hardcore communist ramblings. That was basically what my suggestion box turned into. Basically bringing down the establishment. And then I realized I was just kind of writing a manifesto, and I kind of backed off a little bit. Eased up on the gas.
Who wants to read Sean's manifesto? Say not I.
No one.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I'm saying, like, I paused and was like, this is not the right medium to kind of show America the fucked up shit that I want to do. Hold on, here it is. Looking at you, America.
Wrong camera, you fucking dumb fuck. How is this man supposed to fucking lead us into the generation that's greatest for the workers when he doesn't even know what fucking camera to look at?
Because when I'm in charge, there won't be any cameras, Doug. We're going to take it back to simpler times. The Amish have the right idea. We should have stopped at buttons.
Look at that beard.
No zippers.
All right, on that
This guy
note,
doesn't know what he's asking
on
for.
that note, I think it's time to wrap it up.
Once we start talking about season that means productions, you usually know it's over. Well, welcome to our show, because there is no I, only we.
All right, so I'm Doug for Radio Loud, signing off.
This is Sean for Radio Loud. I cut to Stefan because I thought he was going to say something, and then he didn't say shit when I panned to him.
This is Stefan.
Signing off. Good day.
That's a skill.
Sean should have had Biker Mice from Mars played for him when he started rambling.
Well, I was told we had to go into conspiracy theories, so I immediately went into conspiracy theories.
I wrote a manifesto, he says.
All right.
I wrote a manifesto.
We have a 2:45 hours.